Hello, hello, everyone. Hey, Mickey
Hello.
G. How are you
Hey.
today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Golden
Yeah,
Bronze?
I am good. I am good. You
Good.
just never know how things go, but I am doing great.
Yeah, yeah.
So, our topic today, everyone, we're going to first start off with I want to thank everybody for joining us with Gabby Golden Bronze. Mickey G is my co host, and we have a very fun and entertaining uh, podcast for you today. So, it's a little different than usual, but we thank you for coming. We know that there's plenty of other things that you could be doing, and we're glad that you're giving us this 45 minutes to an hour of your time. So, thank you.
Thank you. I agree with you. But let me tell the audience that you can hear our show on Village Global Network on Mondays every other week at 10 a.m., powered by Zeno FM with additional monitoring through online radio box on the following stations: Culture Shock Radio, Canada; Radio Fresio, Mexico; Rockbox FM, USA; and Wapter Music FM, Guadeloupe. That's near France. All right, let's get this party started.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. How's the weather there? Let's just shoot the bull real
Hot.
quick. How's the weather
It's
there?
hot. It's hot. It's probably in the high 90s. It's, as they say, hell hot. It's hot.
I guess it's that way everywhere. What am I
Yeah.
thinking?
I would think so. Up north, I saw that it's in the 90s, and here I think the heat index is like 104 or 102. It's
Oh
just
my God,
why even go outside? I
hot,
don't know.
just
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah,
hot.
it's hot. I'm so grateful for air conditioning. Yeah,
I know that's right. I
I have
know.
a
So,
story with
ladies
that
and
one.
gentlemen, our topic today is one day I was just minding my own business, and this happened. So I will start it off with one. And these are all true stories. And Mickey, you can ask me questions and I'll do the same with you.
Okay.
But we decided to have a little fun with you guys today.
Okay.
But one day I was minding my own business and I was in Walmart. I moved to a different area. So I was buying some things that I needed. And this guy, he said he was from the Dominican, he walked up to me and said, "Oh my God, your feet are so pretty. Can I just touch them?" I looked around. He said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "The camera, because surely I am on candid camera." He said, "No, no, 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 no. I have a fetish, and my fetish are feet. And I couldn't help but wonder if I could touch yours. They're so pretty." I said, "You've got to be kidding." And I just started laughing. I'm like, this has never happened to me. And I'm looking around like, surely this is, you just been punked. He goes, "Please, he
Oh,
did this, Mickey. Please, please, please." He started begging me, "Can I please touch your feet?" I'm like, "No, sir, you cannot touch my feet." He's like, "Oh, please." I'm like, "No, that one I'm not going to be able to do today."
oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. So, did he just walk? Was he in a line with you? Did he just walk up to you? Was he
No,
standing
see, that
around
is
looking
the,
at your feet?
he must have been watching me. See, I have this habit of just minding my own business, right? So I'm not paying attention to who's watching me or
Yeah.
anything. So he had to
Yeah.
be because I was at the end of the aisle and he was at this end. He went, "Ma'am, ma'am." And so I turned around and then he had this little cart. He came walking up to me real quickly, and that's when he started the conversation. So from one end of Walmart out to the other, he yelled at me across the aisle, down the aisle, if he could touch my feet.
I'm so taken aback by
It
that
was
story.
weird.
How a stranger would come up and ask you to violate your body for his fun.
Mhm.
It's just, oh my gosh. So when you said that to him, did he just skulk away? And did he say,
No,
okay, go to the next person?
he started begging, "Please, ma'am, please, please let me touch your feet. You have such pretty feet." And I was doing this, Nikki. corner. He's like, what are you looking for? The damn camera. Because surely there's one somewhere.
Yeah, because we grew up in the era of Candid Camera and Punked. What was that guy? I can't think of his name. But anyway, when all those pranks were happening, because this doesn't normally happen.
It doesn't normally happen.
But people would ask, like they said, the show, children would say the darndest things. Well, this guy kind of fit that category. Oh my gosh. Well, some places you'll find a lot of people who are like that.
In the middle of a grocery store. I mean, I'm telling you, it's weird. So my daughter was like, you've got to quit talking to strangers. That's dangerous.
Well, yeah, it is. I kind of think it's good that he didn't follow you or something like that, because he seemed real creepy to me.
Listen, that's just it. I walked around the whole store. I'm telling you, I went way over to the auto section, way back to the flower section, to try to make sure I could cruise in and out of different aisles. And when I was walking to my car, I was looking over my shoulder.
Oh my gosh, that's really creepy. But how did you feel? Were you just kind of laughing about it, saying, I can't believe this happened to me while I was minding my own business? Or were you really creeped out thinking, this could have been dangerous, or, what were you thinking?
So both. In the beginning, I was laughing because I thought it was a joke. And you know how they have, what's his name? Quinones, I forget his name.
Oh, I know. What would you do? John Quinones on.
I was thinking it was something like that.
Yeah.
What would you do where he's somewhere around the corner telling the guy what to say and what to do? And then I thought, well, it could be some candid trick. And so that's why I was looking around, because I was like, and he's like, what are you looking for? Like, I'm looking for the damn camera. That's just what I said. But the more it went on, I got creeped out. So I thought, okay, Karen, make sure he's not following you in the store, and I literally spent another 30 minutes walking around the store. And when I went to my car, I wanted to make sure there was no van parked next to it, because you know how they say they park the car or no car parked next to it.
Right.
And did my due diligence to make sure that I wasn't about to be grandma napped or something.
Oh, wow. And that's on a serious tip. You do have to be very careful. Like you said, sometimes people put vans next to your car, or they're hiding underneath your car. You have to be very careful. I mean, that ended well. I mean, relatively.
Yes.
But it ended well, although it's very creepy, but it could have gone very wrong. And I'm so glad that you're okay and that he didn't follow you home, because that would have been a whole other problem. You might have had to kung fu on him or something.
Yes.
Put those pump legs on him. Get to running. Yeah.
I got a pretty turquoise handle Lady Smith & Wesson 38 caliber that I would have been glad to show him. Yeah. Meet Tiffany. Tiffany has a surprise for you.
And it's not the famous one.
Right. And when I got it, my family said, it's just like you to go get a designer pistol. It's so cute. So tell us about some of what were you doing?
Oh, okay. Well, mine is a little brief, but I'm going to tell you that in a minute, because we're going to go for a break in just a few minutes, and then I'll tell you all about my story. Because that one kind of caught me well off guard. I hadn't seen anything like this before. On one hand, it was very peculiar, and on the other hand, well, I'll tell you briefly, and then you can ask me more about it when we come back. So I was at the light going someplace, and I saw this man.
Okay.
His whole behind was out. He had on pants and nothing else, but the pants were like 3 sizes too big. And so you know how guys are sagging and they're holding their belt buckle? Well, he was barely hanging on, but everything was out. I said, he's going to drop these pants a little bit, and it's not good. I mean, even the front was kind of hanging a little bit. I thought, he's just walking down the street. So I'm sitting at the light thinking, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I was just minding my own
business.
business, and I saw this guy, and he approached the car, and he was talking to someone at the car, and I thought, what could he even be saying to someone in the car? But I've never seen anything quite like that before in my life. He wasn't streaking; he was just walking down the street, talking to people in their cars. So I don't know. That was a
What
little
did you
awkward.
do? Did you just
I
did
confess.
you just
I
look?
confess. I took pictures. I took pictures because no one would believe it. So anyway.
Right. All right. We'll be right back. Okay. So as you were saying,
Yeah, I figured no one would believe it. And I felt weird taking a picture of this guy. But I said I couldn't tell anyone this and they would believe it. I said my eyes don't even believe it. So if I take a picture, I look at it later and I'll believe that's what I saw. Because I thought two things. I said, well, maybe he's high on something. And then I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't laugh because maybe he has mental illness or something. I still couldn't believe my eyes. It was just,
yeah.
it was a lot. I mean, I'm just, anyway, but just minding my own business and driving, and you see the most bizarre things going past you.
Right,
So,
right.
I don't know. Hope guy's all right. He just walked on down the street and I didn't follow him. I just let him go. But that was a little bizarre. Other weird things don't happen to me. I don't run across a whole lot of weird things, but I'm sure there's something else. But I think you have a story too.
Well, I have a lot of. I just sitting here thinking about one time I was coming back from work and I was at a stoplight and this this guy pulled up to me. He was like, "Hey," trying to flag me down, and he was fine. I mean, FINE with an exclamation mark, fine. But
Yeah.
he taught me a lesson to mind my own business. I was just minding my own business, and so he was like, "Hey, I've been watching you. I came out of the same parking lot that you came out of, and I'd like to. I was single. Give you my phone number." So I'm thinking, okay, he's fine. Let me give him my phone number. So actually, I took his phone number instead of giving him mine. And I waited about a week or two, and I thought, well, maybe since he said he was coming out of the same parking lot, I'll see him again, and I won't have to call him. I'll just chat with him in the parking lot. And then one day I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and call him. So this guy answers the phone. He's like, "Hello," and I'm like, I called the wrong number because it was a flamboyant person, and I could tell, right? And so I waited a little bit, and I called back again, and this person said, "Hello, who the heck is this?" Only he used the H-E other word instead of heck. And so
Right.
I was just like, "Oh, my name is Karen Denise," gave me my name, and I said whatever the person's name was, gave me the phone number and asked me to call, and he was like, "The B word, that's my man, don't call here no more." And I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Don't worry about it at all. Don't worry about it. And I hung up, threw that number away, and I guess that person was DL. But that taught me to keep minding my own business in situations like that. Big lesson.
2 words. Wait, what? What? Okay. He gave you his number and had
Yeah,
someone at home, and he was bold
go
enough to give
figure.
you his number. I'm confused.
At the
He can
same
give you his
sex
number.
person at home.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he gave me his
Wow.
number, and obviously he's living with a man, and the man is his person, and maybe that man that's his person did or didn't know that he goes both ways. I didn't know, and when he answered the phone, he called me the B word, like I'm supposed to know. That's my man. Don't worry, I will never call again.
Well, because your man has a man, surely I'm not going to him anymore. I'm not going to call him anymore Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. But that taught me when you're minding your business to keep minding your own
Yeah.
business.
Well, we're always minding our own business.
Right.
But things come across our path that we don't expect, just like what happened with you.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I have a story I thought about. So
Okay.
I had a birthday, a special birthday, and I was visiting someone real close to me, and they said we were going to go to a special store. So, get dressed up because, put your makeup on and go, we're going to go to this store. And so I said, oh, all right. I mean, I was out of town. I was visiting out of town. And so I said, okay, well, I'll go get dressed. And I had someone with me. One of my girlfriends was with me. And so before we did that, they said, well, just sit out here. We're going to wait for a minute. And so I looked on the TV screen, and there was this guy who was a drag queen on YouTube talking to me. And I thought, he said, yes, you. I thought, I was kind of like you with the candid camera. Because he was calling me by name. And then next thing I know, out of the garage comes a drag queen doing a show for my birthday.
Oh, wow.
And then another one came out, and they did a show for me. They were in the garage hiding out. So I was really just minding my own business. I was going to go to a store, and I had a drag queen show right there in the living room of my friend's house.
So I wonder, why did she get drag queens
Well,
instead of men, maybe?
Well,
they were men, but you know what I mean.
Well, one of them was a man, the other one was not. So the friend is also a drag queen. They do that too, but they're female. And so the female drag queens they call hyper queens because they're already female. I did not know
that. Yeah.
Yes, and so they're a hyper queen. So, so they had some of their friends. This was during the pandemic, I think. So people weren't going into the places and all that. So one was a male, one was a female that came out to do the show. So my friend came out and did their drag performance. I didn't know anything that was going to happen that evening. I had no clue. Clearly, I was minding my own business, just sitting on the couch. And there's one on the screen with YouTube, and then they're coming out of everywhere. And so that was a very interesting thing that happened to me.
Wow, that is. So how long did that performance last?
Maybe 30 minutes, maybe for the three of them to do it.
So what kind of performance was it?
It was entertaining. It was actually entertaining. It was a lip sync kind of performance. They were lip syncing to these songs and they were dancing. The first one was the female, and she's curvaceous and cute and all that. And then the second one was a male, but he had padding, in the places that he needed padding. And then the last one was a woman. And so I just thought it was entertaining. It was interesting. It's something that I'd never experienced before. And it just, to me, they just look like entertainers, And so just big moves and, all the drag makeup and all the things. And so it was interesting. But I had no idea that was going to happen to me for my birthday.
Wow. So when they have the padding on, can you tell us padding?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, darn. I was going to go buy me some padding.
You're fine. You're fine. You don't want to do that. So it was more the butt padding that it was kind of obvious because, just like when people get them added, sometimes the job doesn't look right. Because the behind is this big and the legs are this big, and it was kind of that thing. But they did a very good performance, I suppose. But there's something that I wasn't quite ready for. But it was entertaining. It was fun. It was something different. So because, like I said, not all drag queens are men. Some of them are women.
What do they call the women again that are drag queens?
Hyper queens.
Hyper queens.
Hyper queens. Because you're ultra feminine. You're feminine already by gender and your lifestyle. And then you're you're hyped up, ultra feminine to do these drag performances. So the makeup is very elaborate, and the movements are very elaborate. So it was quite an experience, to say the
Yeah.
least. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my little fun stories.
So I have another one. Um, we one day, one of my friends said he has a boat. He goes boating, and he said, "Let's go out on the boat and have some fun." So I was minding my own business that day, and I didn't have anything to do. So I said, "Okay," and I took my little granddaughter. She must have been 8 with me. So we're out on the boat, and um, I had her put on the life jacket and everything. And we get way out in the middle of Lake Travis, which is a beautiful lake. It actually looks like an ocean with royal blue water, but it's still a lake in the state of Texas. And so we get out on this boat, and I love water. I probably was a mermaid in the life before, or will be one in the one after, if there is one. And so I'm all excited about being in the water. So he anchors the boat, and before I knew it, I jumped off in the water. I love to swim. And as soon as I got in there, I started thinking, water moccasin, water moccasin. You're in Texas. They have water moccasins. And I was like, let me get out of this water. Before I knew it, my granddaughter jumped in. And I was like, because she didn't know how to swim. But she had on a life jacket. And I just slow motion could see her jump in the water. And while she's jumping in the water, I'm thinking, water moccasin, water moccasin. And we will be right back, and I'll finish. Jumped up on the boat, and as soon as I jumped up on the boat, after grabbing her out of the water, I thought, Karen, you're just minding your own business, and this person came and said, let's go out in the lake, and before you know it, you jumping in the lake. And one of the things he said is that he had never seen a black woman that would get in the water. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Because my grandmother used to have to tell me to get out of the pool. She had a pool in her backyard, and I would swim until I was like the color of my hair, crispy black from the sun. This was in California. And so I went to work, and so I was polling the sisters, and I gave them the same scenario. Hey, if somebody came by and said, hey, let's go riding on the boat, and just everything I just said to you, would you jump in the water? They was like, heck to the no.
Same.
Not messing up my do or whatever. But I thought he was like making it up. He said he has not ever seen a sister that would just jump off a boat into the water.
Nor have I. I wouldn't have been one of them. So I would have just stood there probably. What is she doing? And why
That's
is she
kind of
doing
what
it?
he did too. He was like, what is she doing? You know, black women though, he said, get in the water. I'm like, you got to, he's mixed, right? You got to be kidding me. That's not true. I love to swim. And from my poll that I took, they would not either do it.
No, I wouldn't, but I'm not a swimmer. But here's the
It's
question.
fun.
Why? Why did you just say there's some water, let me jump in it? What?
I said, there's a beautiful lake. I love to swim. I'm going to get in the water. As soon as I got in the water, water moccasin, water moccasin, water moccasin. And I'm like, before I could get out, my granddaughter jumps in behind me. My daughter causes freaking frack because I used to take her everywhere with me, right? Just come on, go with Nana here, there, whatever.
Yeah.
And before I could get out good, I could just see her jumping in the water right behind me. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so she doesn't swim. She had a life vest on, right?
Thank God I had her put on the life vest. She swims now. She was 8 then.
Oh,
she did.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so why did she jump in?
Because I did. And
she was just doing what you did.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to be careful what you do around
impressionable children. So
right.
How did she do when she got in there? She had a life jacket on, but how did she do?
I just scooped her up and threw her on that boat. because I'm hearing water moccasin, water moccasin, water
Yeah.
moccasin. And then when we got in the boat, he says to me, "Oh, there's no water moccasins in Lake Travis." I'm like, "You tell that to somebody else. This is in the state of Texas.
Right.
They're
Right.
in every lake, I'm sure, you know."
Right. Oh wow. Well, I'm glad everyone's okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so you got back on the boat and you didn't jump back in the water?
No, I did not.
And
As
have
a
you
matter
done
of
that?
fact, I have not been in any lakes. No, not because I don't want to swim, but because of what I just said. I don't like snakes. I think that's
Yeah.
the only thing in this world that I fear.
Yeah. Well, have you done it in the ocean? You lived in California.
Oh
Did you
yeah, I
do
get
it
it.
in the
I won't get in the, listen. I went swimming with the dolphins, no, the stingrays in the
Really?
Caribbean. Yes,
Really?
in the middle of the Caribbean, I was swimming with the stingrays. Yeah. And
Wow.
this the same person, it was their idea that we go swim with the stingrays. And I said, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds like fun." I said, "I swim like a fish, so I don't have any problem with it. Are you sure?" And because we had to take jet skis and follow the guide out in the middle of the
Mhm.
Caribbean. And he's like, "Yeah." So that was the scary part, was the jet skis, because there was nothing to hold on to but him. And
Right.
I had my knees just into the side of the jet skis. The water was coming up on us, and it was a slippery ride out there. And I kept asking him to slow down because I know he had to be going like 80 miles an hour. And that's the part that scared me. But when we got out there, we had on life jackets because the guide told us to put them on. And I started thinking, is this man trying to kill me or what? Because he said, "Take off your life jacket," when we got out in the middle of the ocean. And I
Oh
said,
wow.
"Take off my life jacket." I remember I told you I was very passive when it
Right.
came
Right.
to men, which
Right.
I'm not so much now. I
Right.
am, but not as much as I was.
Right. Right.
And so I'm like, "Why would I take off my life jacket?" He said, "Let's swim in the water." And so I'm like, "Okay." Again, I like to swim, so we took off the life jacket. He took off his, and I jumped in the water, and I start swimming, and I'm swimming, and I get out where the guide is, and I'm floating on my back because I didn't like the stingrays around my legs, so I just floated on my back, and the stingrays were, just swimming all up under me. I think he panicked because he was like dog pedaling and ran out of air or something. So I heard him go, "Guide, guide, my lady, she needs her life jacket." I said, "I'm way over here, a football field away from you. You need your life jacket." I'm
He's
doing good.
yeah, he's the only one in a panic, not you.
Right? I'm doing good. So the guy said, "Say, my mom, your lady, she's floating like a cork." He goes, "But if you want me to get your life jacket, I'll get your life jacket." So he went and got his life jacket, brought it to him, he put it on. And I said, "Don't be using me as no excuse."
Just because you're scared, I'm not.
Right. I said, "I'm good over here."
This is
But,
very interesting. So
yeah.
this leads me to other questions.
Okay.
I mean, I had never heard this story. So, have you ever scuba dived?
I have not, but it's on my list. Yeah. The only thing that I'm afraid to do is jump out of a plane. What do they call it? Parachuting
Skydiving.
and
Skydiving.
skydiving. I ain't
Right.
doing that. But
Yeah. That's the only thing you want to do.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm not parachuting. That's, I guess, when they land on land and sky. Is that the same skydive? I'm not doing that.
Probably
No,
parasailing is when you do it over the
parasailing.
water. Yes.
Yeah,
And I think
I'm
you
not doing that
start
either.
low and you go up because there's some kind of a kite type thing, some parachute. So
Hmm.
parasailing over the water, you wouldn't do that, right?
No,
And parachuting, you're not doing that.
no.
But if you're under the water, you might do that. So
Yes,
scuba or snorkeling
yes. I'm
under the
open to
water.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's
Hmm.
adventurous. I like that. And
Yes.
it is an anomaly that Black people don't swim. Just this person doesn't, but there are a lot of Black people who swim.
I didn't know that, Michelle. I promise you, I didn't. Being
Yeah.
black, I did not know that. That
Yeah.
my parents made sure that my brother and I could swim.
Yeah. Well, I took swimming. I'm just going to tell this quick story. I took swimming when I was 9 at the community pool. Didn't learn how to swim. I took swimming in middle school at 6th grade, a whole 9 weeks. Did not learn how to swim. I was 11. Maybe it's just not meant for me. I don't know. But I may take swimming again. I don't know. But when you get older, you're a little bit more cautious, a little bit more afraid. But I took it twice when I was a child and came out not swimming. So I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's not an anomaly. I know people who can. Now, 2 of my children can. My sons
Mhm.
can. My daughters cannot. But
So
they're
is that the case with men and women or just women?
I don't know. I don't know. I know that their dad threw them in the pool, threw the boys in the pool, and it was like sink or swim. But my girls, that didn't happen with them. So I don't know. I don't know. And none of us, my siblings and I, none of us learned to swim. But my sister took swimming recently, and so
Mhm.
I'm really proud of her. You do it a little later in life. It's better than not doing it at all. That's a
Right.
skill I wish I had, but
You
but
still can, Mickey G. It's
right,
never too late. You
it's
hear
never.
me all the time saying, as long as you're standing upright on your 2 feet, it is never too late to do
That's true.
anything.
That's true. And maybe one day when I grow up, I'll be a mermaid like you.
Well,
I'll
you
be,
better hurry up because you're knocking at my back door.
yeah. I've got to do that. And I thought about some stories that I think we want to tell. I'd like for us to talk about it when we come back about our trip to Puerto Rico and
All
some things
right,
that happened
yes.
there when we were minding our own business. One of the times was when we were in the casino. We went to the casino. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about, oh yeah, we're from here. We're here for a few days, and somebody else was listening. And
Yeah.
then we walked out of the casino, and we were just minding our own business, going
Business.
back to the hotel. And you warned me of something, but
We'll be right back. And
yeah, we'll be right back. It's okay.
and we are back. Thank you, thank you. So we were leaving the casino, and actually, I gab too much sometimes.
We both did that.
So we're enjoying Puerto Rico, walking around the casino. There was hardly anybody in there. And this guy asked us who we were and what we were doing. And Miss Gab over here, oh, we're here for the first time visiting Puerto Rico. We've never been here before. And, he was like, well, come join us and do this. We're like, oh, no, we got other things that we want to do first. We might come back. And there was this predator in the mist. And you want to tell the rest of it?
Yes, I'll tell it. So it was nighttime. This was our first night in Puerto Rico. And we were walking to our hotel. So this is a whole resort. And so the casino was there were some restaurants, and then there's our hotel. So we started walking back toward our hotel, and Golden Bronze noticed there was a man following us. And so
Mhm.
we decided to kind of deter, go a different direction. We walked the long way across the street and down the steps and up the steps and at some point, wasn't he hiding behind some bushes? Or he was standing near some
Yes.
bushes near the hotel,
Mhm.
and we were
Yes.
watching him. So as we kept walking around, we eventually saw him walk away from us. But he
Mhm.
was certainly following us because every time we would look around, he wouldn't be too far away from us. Probably what, about 10, 15 feet away from us,
Not
maybe?
far at all.
Not far
Yes.
at all. He was just following
Mhm.
us. So, Gavin with Golden Bronze is good here, not there. We were
And
just minding our business, just tourists.
just
And
talking too much, gabbing too much.
yeah, we're here, we're new, we're from here, we're from there. This is our first time we're traveling alone.
Just talking too much.
Yeah, that was about our own business. So I'm so glad that she was astute enough, or you were astute enough, to notice that I was so oblivious. Just walking. And and a lot of times I'm really aware of my surroundings. I generally am. But we had each other's back. And
Right.
so I was just walking and she's like, hey, we need to go this way. There's a guy over there. And so I looked around, I saw the guy. It was the creepiest thing,
Mhm.
because we could have walked anywhere. But then the fact that we were going to our hotel, we didn't want him to see what floor we were going to. Was he going in the hotel too? It was a little spooky, and that's
Especially when he got behind the bushes. That's when we
right.
knew we were in trouble.
Right, we knew something was up with that, and that wasn't a good thing. But we survived it. We had a lot of fun. We had a
We'll
lot
have
of
to do
fun.
that again. But you know
Yeah,
what he didn't know? He was going to get his butt kicked because he was
yeah.
going to have to take both of us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. One pin him down, the other one's punching and kicking, and
Yeah,
we'll both be kicking him in familiar places, and
yeah.
it'd be on and popping. So
And
yeah,
speaking of Puerto Rico, there was something else that we were minding our own business, sitting on the balcony. And I had been out and we came in and it was kind of humid and misty. And we were standing up on the balcony looking out in the ocean. We saw two people swimming out to the ocean. And
surfing.
we saw one come back. And we saw one go down and didn't come back up. And we were just, what do? Do we go tell somebody? Because we don't know who it is. We don't know where that person is staying, and we don't know what to do. Or we don't even know if the person was swimming underneath the water.
Right.
That's a possibility I thought of later. But the currents were up, and the other person was having a hard time swimming back to shore. You remember that?
Right. They were surfing. They were
I
surfing.
know. And they got split up some kind of way, and one got carried out. They both got carried out, but one further than the other. You remember that? That
Yeah.
was a very sad feeling because we don't know if that person survived or not.
Yes, we thought that the guy that came back was going to get help because we don't live in that climate. We don't know how those kinds of things work. We don't. I think we told someone later, maybe at the hotel or something about that. But when you see something like that, it's very jarring, and it was stormy. It was pretty earlier, then it got kind of stormy, and the ocean was choppy, and then the seas calmed down. So
Right.
that and then it was sunlight. It was sunshine later in the
Right.
day, and so that was very bizarre. I think that kind of lingered with us a while
Mhm.
because he might have swam under the surface and came up, but we
Mhm.
just didn't see. We don't. That was a long distance from us,
Right.
but we were just sitting on our balcony minding our own business, and that was probably that wasn't a funny story, but that was something that we had never
That happened while we were just minding our own business and
Yes,
reaching out.
yes. We had a few minding our own business things there in Puerto Rico with the Uber drivers and the
Yes.
hotel and things that just surprised us. But the thing about it is, teamwork made the dream work, and we got
Yes.
through that trip. We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
We we experienced a lot of fun stuff in the casino in the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I could tell you another story. Um, I like to cook, and I had a YouTube cooking channel called Divas Cooking, Travel, and Fun. Follow Divas, DVAS, Cooking, Travel, and Fun. Like, subscribe, and share. But anyway, now that I got that little plug in, um, I had to go to a grocery store, and I was out doing real estate earlier that day, and I decided to go to one in a real trendy, upscale neighborhood in Dallas area. And so I was looking for some jasmine rice. And where I normally go, I would have been able to find it. So I'm standing there and I'm looking, reading the shelves, and I'm short. So the rice was stacked all the way up, and I was just trying. I saw balsamic rice, all kinds of different rice. So I'm sitting there just looking, and this guy walks up, and so he goes, "Hi, how are you doing?" I said, "I'm fine." And he said, "What are you looking for?" He said, "I've been watching you down from the end of the aisle again in the grocery store." And I said, "Jasmine rice." And he said, "Here it is right here." And he handed it to me. And so he said, so I said, "Oh, thank you so much." And so he said, "So are you going to invite me over for dinner?" And so I'm like, "No, I don't think so." And so then he goes, "Hi." He says, "I'm Willie Nelson." And I'm thinking, he looked like Willie Nelson, but I wasn't sure. So I wasn't going to say anything. And at that point, I thought, "Doggone it, I should have said yes."
Yeah, and
But
then
Willie Nelson is older than wait a minute, he's older than my mother, so he's
well,
90 something.
yeah, he's at least 90, but I guess after that he was on the road again.
But I was just minding my business,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there he
yeah.
was.
Brush with greatness. A brush with greatness. Well, so did anyone else kind of confirm it? Did you see people around him or anything later on?
Well, Dallas, and I'm sure like Houston and other big cities, when you're in areas that they frequent, they don't too much aren't like groupies and running up on you. He said that he's there often, which I Googled, and he does come there a lot. And
Wow.
I mentioned it was in an upscale neighborhood in Dallas, so people weren't like bombarding him. But I'm sure at some point someone might have asked for an autograph because I was simply just minding my own business. And I kind of glanced over there and thought he looked like Willie Nelson, but I didn't
Wow.
think, oh
Wow.
wow, that's Willie Nelson.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like to leave famous people alone.
Yeah.
I did have a brush with one, probably maybe a couple of years ago. I was in the airport and I was flying my favorite airline, Southwest. Not a plug, but that's where I was flying. And so I didn't expect to see this person there in the terminal. I was leaving Atlanta. That's what it was. I was leaving Atlanta. And to my surprise, I would see Tyrese Gibson
Oh wow.
with
I
his Louis
like him.
Vuitton bag. Yeah, with his Louis Vuitton bag. And I thought, Tyrese? But I didn't say anything to him.
Yeah.
I noticed it and I moved on because, you don't want to interrupt people. They're just going about their lives and they're famous. But that was quite a brush with greatness right there. And
Yeah.
I never would have
And
expected him there.
And a lot of times when you see the Louis Vuittons and all of that, you kind of figure it's somebody of prominence, but a lot of them are incognito and you can't pick them out of crowds, like Willie Nelson. He had on some jeans and a shirt and some boots and he just, long braided hair and, you can't pick them out by their clothing, but
Right.
some are very, very much so able to pick them out. But Mickey, I want to take a minute to talk about Golden Swan Cadre, and I wanted to tell everyone that we are a 501c3 domestic nonprofit organization that advocates against domestic violence. And we also advocate for women's health issues, women's mental health, because we tend to go through things if we're victims of domestic violence, self-care and mindfulness, and incorporated in that is fashion, hygiene, manicures, pedicures, facials, things. We encourage all of that so that women can feel good about themselves. Because when they feel good about themselves, they're mentally more in focus. And not only that, we work with several entities throughout Texas that are domestic violence entities. We donate charitable things to them, resources. We volunteer out in the communities that we serve. And we adopt 4 to 5 families a year. And these are families that have gone through the domestic violence programs at the entities. And when they are discharged or released from those entities, they're referred to us and we help them on their single family journeys in life. And so a lot of the funds that we solicit, sponsorships or donations, we use that money there to give to the victims, survivors, so that they can become thrivers. We mentor them. We're going to begin a peer-to-peer program with the ladies to help them navigate through life. And so I want to take this time to tell everybody that if you would be gracious enough to donate anything that you can to Golden Swan Cadre, in a few minutes, my co-host will give you that information. But we started this podcast to try to solicit some funds for that organization.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I do want to say though, I think it was Tyrese. I can't say it was for sure. So just to get that straight. So we Golden Swan Cadre takes donations from Cash App, Golden Swan Cadre, $, Golden Swan Cadre, Venmo, PayPal. Am I missing one?
You can do it on all of our Facebook and Instagram pages and www.goldenswancadre.com.
Okay, very good. And so I want to finally say you can hear our show on Village Global Network on Mondays every other week at 10 a.m., powered by Zeno FM with additional monitoring through online radio box on the following stations: Culture Shock Radio, Canada, Radio Forcio, Mexico, Rockbox FM, USA, and Wapta Music FM, Guadalupe.
And thank you for joining Gab with Golden Bronze. We do appreciate it so much, and come back and see us again.